From surprise entrants returning to win the whole damn thing, to leaving the fan favorite at home for the hell of it, just when we think we know the answer, WWE inevitably go and change the Royal Rumble questions. I'm Gareth from What Culture Wrestling, and here are the 10 biggest swerves WWE have ever pulled at the Royal Rumble. Number 10. Dolph Ziggler is here to swerve the world. Whatever way you slice it, the 2018 Men's Royal Rumble is one of the finest of the modern era. A performance which should have established Finn Balor as a bona fide main roster star, an unexpected ruthless aggression / modern era stare down, and a winner fans could all get behind in Shinsuke Nakamura. This baby had it all. Well, almost. With fans drinking in rumors of The Undertaker, Batista, CM Punk, and even Kenny Omega turning up during the bout in the build-up to the match, all eyes were on the number 30 spot when that famous final buzzer went off. Yet, instead of any of these guaranteed crowd poppers blowing the roof off of the Wells Fargo Center, WWE chose to trot a returning Dolph Ziggler out instead. Returning after being away for a grand total of 5 weeks. To be fair, we did already see Rey Mysterio and the Hurricane make comebacks, so perhaps we were being a tad greedy here. But sending out Ziggler as the final entrant of a so far stellar Rumble did stink of Vince McMahon sticking a personal middle finger up at those on the internet begging for another big hitter. Number 9. The man comes around. Leading up to the 2019 iteration of the Royal Rumble event, Becky Lynch had her eyes on regaining her SmackDown Women's Championship from Asuka. However, as soon as the Empress of Tomorrow proved she was the better woman on the night, fans were left wondering exactly how the man was going to guarantee her spot at WrestleMania. As the Women's Royal Rumble match got underway and the numbers ticked on, fans began to wonder if WWE were about to pull a Daniel Bryan, oh, we'll get there, and leave the most popular star in the company out of the over-the-top rope battle royal altogether. However, when an injured Lana couldn't make her way down the epic Chase Field ramp after watching entrants 29 and 30 pass her by, one a little more violently than the other, a red-haired hero emerged. To the sound of a euphoric 48,000 strong, Lynch pleaded to be subbed in for the ravishing Russian, eventually being given the green light by Fit Finlay and storming down to the ring before ultimately winning the whole dang thing. It's the kind of swerve you just love to see. Number 8. Kofi Kingston creatively sets the tone for his Rumble career. Despite appearing in a number of Royal Rumble contests beforehand, it was during the 2012 edition of the annual multi-man match when Kofi Kingston decided to make the bout his own. After The Miz had drop-kicked the star off the apron, it looked like Kingston was set for an early shower. However, in a completely unexpected sequence, Kingston refused to admit defeat when his legs were flung into the air with only his hands on the floor to support him. Instead, the creative performer began to walk on his hands, shuffling back towards the steps before planting his feet on safer steel. This initial elimination swerve paved the way for a consistent yearly highlight when it comes to the showpiece event. In the Rumble since this memorable handstand, we've seen Kingston use a chair as a pogo stick, run across the barricade and jump to safety, and even have his skin saved by a stack of pancakes. Only time will tell what level of craziness the New Day member will have in store for 2021. Number 7. Only one foot touched the ground. Kicking off the 1995 Royal Rumble as the number 1 and 2 entrants, few fans honestly believed that Shawn Michaels or the British Bulldog had any chance when it came to winning the whole 30-man affair. But against all the odds, both men made it to the final 2 in the shortest iteration of the bout. However, that wasn't the biggest shock on the night. That came after HBK was sent flying over the top rope by Davey Boy Smith in what appeared to be the conclusion of the bout. Whilst Bulldog obliviously celebrated after seemingly surviving the entire match, Michaels was seen clinging on for dear life. It was soon revealed that only one of his feet had hit the ground, paving the way for a stunning comeback which would see him knock his fellow match starter off the top rope for the victory. These saves may be about as common as a pointless Goldberg title shot today, but back then this swerve melted the brains of everyone in attendance and those watching at home. Number 6. The animal is inevitably unleashed, and the goat is not. When WWE announced that former world champion Dave Bautista would be returning to the company in 2014, it soon became clear that Vince McMahon had big plans for the animal at that year's Show of Shows. However, it's fair to say that his wasn't the name on fans' lips when it came to the person they wanted to see in the main event of WrestleMania 30. Their heart belonged to the pluckiest of underdogs in Daniel Bryan. WWE clearly knew this, as their audience had been backing Bryan for months. So how did Vince McMahon repay those chanting yes? By leaving him out of the Rumble match completely, of course. As soon as Rey Mysterio popped out at number 30, the masked babyface was booed out of the building due to simply not being the bearded boy they were waiting for. And that negative noise only grew as Batista pointed at the Mania sign post-victory. Our GOAT would get there in the end, but for more than a second it looked like this painful swerve was setting the table for the stalest main event in Mania history. Number 5, the champ shouldn't be here. In terms of memorable Royal Rumble moments, John Cena has had more than your average hulking WWE star. However, it seemed like any hope of seeing Big Match John put on another impressive display in the Mammoth contest in 2008 had been put to bed in the wake of Cena tearing his pectoral muscle completely off the bone in October of the previous year. It was said that Cena would need 6 months to a year to fully recover from the serious injury. So the show would have to go on without him, or so we thought. Producing one of the most surreal pops in WWE history, none other than the former WWE champion himself made a swerve ahead of schedule return at number 30, before sprinting down to the ring and earning himself an unexpected world title shot at WrestleMania 24. None of us saw it coming. Number 4, the wrong queen conquers. Even though the bout regularly involves 30 entrants all vying for a WrestleMania main event spot, it's sometimes pretty clear coming into the match who would benefit the most from a Rumble victory, and therefore who should win the overall contest. However, just because it makes sense doesn't necessarily mean WWE will go in that direction. This odd way of thinking was on display again during the 2020 Women's Royal Rumble, when all signs seemed to be pointing to a victory for the ferocious Shayna Baszler, with the former NXT Women's Champion looking set for a call-up after dropping her belt to Rhea Ripley a month before. Yet, instead of giving the legit former MMA fighter the biggest victory of her career, and announcing her as the latest top star in the main roster's women's division, McMahon decided to have Baszler obliterate most of the field before getting choked out by Charlotte Flair in the closing stages. Opting for a tried and tested established star who really didn't need the rub rather than the exciting new prospect felt like the sort of McMahon move we should have seen coming. Sadly, we didn't, and this whole situation felt like a pointless swerve and a huge missed opportunity. Number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin wins after being eliminated. Despite being on the receiving end of one of the most controversial Rumble swerves ever, again, we'll get there, Stone Cold Steve Austin still managed to end his career as the all-time record holder for Rumble wins, with 3. Yet Austin's illustrious Rumble CV didn't get off to the cleanest of starts back in 1997, when the soon-to-be icon duped his way to victory in the famous 30-man match. As Bret the Hitman Hart looked to have eliminated his Survivor Series 1996 adversary, the two officials on the outside were busy trying to split up a warring Mankind and Terry Funk. Spotting the distracted refs, Austin slithered back into the match, eliminating Vader and The Undertaker before chucking Hart over the top rope for the win. Unaware of Austin's tumble to the outside, the refs soon raised Stone Cold's hand and crowned him the victor, despite the fact that the thousands in attendance had clearly witnessed him being sent packing by the Hitman. But based on an upcoming entry, you could say that karma is a bitch. Number 2, the game plays the big dog. Around the time of the 2016 iteration of the event, Triple H hadn't actually been seen on television for a spell, in the wake of an absolute mauling at the hands of current WWE champion Roman Reigns at the TLC pay-per-view in December of the previous year. At that point, Reigns was still seen as a largely polarizing figure. So, in forcing the champ to defend his belt in the titular bout, starting things off at number 1 no less, most people assumed this stacking of the odds was just another attempt to present the big dog as the ultimate legitimate but eventually victorious underdog. However, Vince McMahon had other ideas when it came to desperately trying to drag authentic sympathy out of his audience, and shockingly pulled the son-in-law trigger at number 30. Then, once the game had stunningly played Reigns out of the match, WWE also fooled us into believing Dean Ambrose would be walking out as the new world champion. Alas, it wasn't to be. But this particular swerve did not have the desired effect McMahon was looking for, as most fans were simply overjoyed at the fact that anyone but the Chosen One had left the arena with the gold. Number 1. The Boss wins the big one. Coming into the 1999 Rumble match, Stone Cold Steve Austin had been drawn at number 1 by his arch-nemesis Vince McMahon. However, it was the Boss who had the unenviable task of starting the Mania main event fast tracker alongside him. With McMahon putting a $100,000 bounty on Austin being eliminated too, things did not look good for everyone's favorite anti-hero. As the match got underway, McMahon would soon escape the ring via the bottom rope, with Austin quickly doing the same and hunting down the Boss through the crowd before eventually getting ambushed by the corporation. Austin was then whisked away in an ambulance, only to return driving that very same vehicle. 1999 was just nuts. He'd have to battle his way through the remainder of the match, before finally getting his hands on his nemesis as the pair eventually made up the final 2. Yet the Boss still had a rock-shaped ace up his sleeve. One ringside distraction later, McMahon seized the moment and flipped the Texan out of the ring, meaning The Rock left the arena $100,000 richer, and the fans in attendance were left picking up their jaws at the sight of the WWE chairman being declared their Rumble winner. Utter madness. And that's our list. Know of any other big swerves WWE have pulled at the Royal Rumble? Let us know all about them in the comments section below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button. Also, be sure to head on over to whatculture.com and click on some more incredible articles just like the one this video is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm sure I'll see you very, very soon.